we'll have to pause it, otherwise it'll echo us throughout the meeting. So which is Misha Naomi from Dream Waters Wellness, and I'm here live today with one of our bountiful white chord Priestexes of the Yonah Colibri hive that came out of the last initiates of Dream Waters Wellness and the Inner Alchemy Sacred Grove process. So the Inner Alchemy Sacred Grove process is a year and a day process that goes along to the co-founder of On Owens' book, Journey of the Bard. And so Sam here is a fantastic artist that I had the incredible, beautiful blessings of living with in Australia for a period of time. And after I left, Sam decided to jump into the container, Yonah Colibri, and deepen into his spiritual expansion pack and see what there could be seen in a year and a day's process. So Sam is a film artist and director, script writer, playwright, and poet. So I'll pass it over to Sam at this time. So Sam, do you want to tell us a little bit about you and like how you came into spirituality?
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, everyone. I am Sam Desire. I've been, well, spirit's been part of my life for forever, really. It's been a huge aspect of the family I was raised in, specifically my mum. She's a very, very spiritual woman. Throughout my youth, she'd take me to plenty of little spiritual gatherings, plenty of little things. I mean, I can remember going to very I can't even remember the name, but very specific like Reiki rooms where it would just be these big groups of women all doing like clearings for each other, massages, Reiki healings, verbal healings. So it's just been a huge aspect of what I was raised around. I mean, I've been reading a lot of very spiritually heavy self-help books since I was like could read pretty much like 9 or 10. I was sitting in my bed reading these big books and going, yes, this is it. This is alive. Always very connected to the intuition, the psychics, to all of it. It's always been kind of like a background of how I think and feel and move through this world, but not something I've had particularly done my own kind of exploration into in my own kind of adult life until now, with our hive names. Obviously, we did a little bit of work here and there together when you were living with me, and we did that together. It was like a really big kind of reopening of the door for me because it's not it's something you can kind of get very used to having just as an aspect of your life without giving it almost the attention it can deserve sometimes because it can kind of come second nature. A little bit like speaking, it's just how everything feels and works and moves. But this has been such a beautiful experience of really like giving it the time it deserves to really move and experience and expand. And yeah, very, very beautiful. It's definitely fed into a lot of my own artistry. I've been a filmmaker and a poet for going on over 5 years now. Been doing that for a hot second, written plenty of little, I've directed short films, documentaries. I've worked with lots of different people, many different projects, both professional and indie, which is a really lovely experience. But definitely moving into a space now where I put a lot of heavy focus on getting feature films made, getting content out there that really has these kind of ideologies like written into these characters and have these messages and the spiritual meaning that's just not necessarily always going to be the forefront of exactly what it's about, but a really important aspect of what these people are doing in their stories and their tales, and really trying to, I guess, get it out there what that can look like for people and how they can tune into their own kind of state of being and try and get some kind of, not necessarily mirroring, but people seeing themselves in these characters and then wanting to go and expand and explore on their own kind of journeys and touch base in those kind of aspects of their life and really just bringing that to the cultural forefront. That's what I'd love to do. Um, also writing a poetry book at the moment, have finished up the first one. That's in the process of getting published at the moment. And that really just goes on to show what, for me personally, what that can look like in your own life on a very like personal note to myself, going from just life to life with spirit, and how that can really intrinsically help heal, process, and move through things, and really just expand what you're capable of. So I'm very excited to have this, be on this journey, be here, and have these beautiful experiences.
Super cool. So, with your poetry book, I want you to focus on that for a half second. So, just background awareness for everyone. The year in the day process goes one journey where we journey into a very specific realm in this book. And then we have one journey that is a try your clairsentience and your different clairsenses practices, mediumship practices, intuition practices, or just general clearing journeys, things to align and accelerate your goals. We also accelerate and align with quantum codes, all processes. So every 2 weeks, you get aligned and accelerated to your best goals, so you magnetize the best things to you. There's the bottom half of the journey, which is the underworld journey. And then there's the upper half of the journey. And so we were discussing before, Sam and I, about these two different feels of these two different sections of the journey. And I believe it was in the underworld journey that then came the completion of the poetry with some really beautiful divine timing around closures of some things and
Yeah,
stuff like that. Do you want to speak a little to your
yeah,
poetry
absolutely.
and all that came
It's
out?
such it really is so clearly the underworld and then the upper astral part of the tree. Like those two are so specific in their almost their flavor and their state of existence. And moving through the underworld for me, very apparently, very quickly, was gonna be this really deconstruction of self, both physically, mentally, subconsciously, spiritually. All of it really just was very, we were saying before, like a mortar and pestle, very much like molding the clay, working to reshape and refit what I know about myself to fit myself the best. And with that came up so much in clearing out childhood wounds, teenage wounds, current wounds, self-perception, ideologies of the world, how I am just operating and existing at a baseline. And that, of course, came up in my poetry. My poetry has always been a way for me to express the heavy, I love to explain it as the emotions that don't have a name. I tell a story for them because it's always been, it's what I needed it for in the very beginning, and still to this day, is there's these specific situations, emotions that we all, I guess, go through. And there's not always necessarily one word that can befit it. And especially in this journey, like we're moving through such intrinsic and massive areas of ourself that there isn't really, you can't really boil it down to one word every time. And so it's always been for me a way to channel those emotions into a little beautiful stumbling of words together. And before starting this journey, it was very much this aspect of like making sense of the things you can't make sense of. And now it's, especially moving through the underworld, it was the making sense of it all. So I kind of phrased the chapters of this book into my birth of self, the life of that self, watching that self die, and then coming into this journey, the rebirth of what that looks like and the transmutation of it. And I was, it's especially, I wasn't watching it finish itself until the beginning of this year when these kind of chapters came to me, and I was looking at it going, Oh, that makes so much sense. It's just right there in front of me because it's like everything that, for me, how I came to be who I am, living as that, watching the failing aspects of that and feeling the repercussions of that, and then coming into this and transmuting it into what the best version of that looks like and the closestly aligned with my most authentic self. And that's what the underworld was, this full aligning with my most authentic self, and dropping away a lot of those limiting beliefs, a lot of any shame that gets attached to ourselves, whether self-induced, parentally induced, societally induced, whatever, brings those about. But it was a lot of really firm in that kind of aspect of myself, for me in particular. Um, and really just what my existence looks like. It's very big and dramatic, but that's really kind of what it was. How does it feel to exist in this life as myself, and what is the best version of that? So I was coming through the underworld, and as we were getting to the end, it's like every time we'd move through the chapters, it felt like it's one step, next step, next step. And you feel like at first, when I was moving through at the beginning, I was like, okay, I'm going to be going through this like one, it's like a trial almost. One trial done, the next one, next trial done, the next one. But it really is kind of not like that at all. It was very much like, okay, so we're adding a room to the house, and now we're going to add another room to the house, another room to the house, and you have to walk through all those houses every day. Oh, oh, okay, fantastic. That's great. I've got to clean such a huge mansion now, but you get used to it and you love it and you expand and it's just expansion of self. That's really what it is. And it became very, 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 very hectic, um, towards the end because it's so much new space, and so much more room to clear things and move things and let go of things whilst all of this new stuff is coming in. And I felt like towards the end of my book, I was getting to this point where I could feel so viscerally that aspects of myself were falling away from me into the void, it's not even, a lot of stuff was transforming, but it was like I was shedding, really. I felt like a caterpillar shedding a cocoon. That is exactly what it was like my snake skin was coming off. Like, I could just feel myself crawling out of it, going, it's not fitting. I don't fit into it anymore. It's like you expand so much that you can't physically or spiritually fit into where you were beforehand anymore. Um, so that's what really coming to the end of my book, it looks like this just acceptance of like, well, we're so much more than everything else that I've written about so much. We're so much more than all of that now. And it's all so okay. And it's just so perfect and beautiful as it is. But there's just so much more. And it's a very beautiful finishing of like, well, it's okay. Like it's just that's it's simple as that. It's okay. Just to be. So it was very, very beautiful because then you slingshot like we slingshot up into the astral realms, and it's like all of this weight and this old body is all being left, and you're like, well, let's go. Put me on the roller coaster. I'm ready to go up. And then you just can fly. And then going into the astral realm, I was like, here we go. Like it's going to be the exact same. It's going to be an even more intense level of emotional, healing work and uprooting and changing and evolving. And it was really nothing of the sort. Like it was not really like that at all. It was just this bliss to just exist within the new expansion of myself and fly
This
around in there and experience. Yeah, it's just
spot and it just flows and we just
it just flows and it just goes and you're swimming and you're flying and it's
emotional
traveling through wormhole and it's
sick and you're just okay, those things I understand. I have compassion. I have a
I have
boundary.
compassion. I
Hmm.
have a boundary. Yeah, the
Yeah.
boundary lines, they come in so easily and gracefully, and everything's like this is it's like this the respect of self coming from the aligning with the authenticity of yourself then comes with the ability to just fully accept whatever comes your way and moves through, and it just goes in and out the other end, and it's all beautiful whatever it is, but there isn't any damage being done from it. It's all just propelling you forward. And it's just this complete connectivity to what energy lies underneath everything. And you can feel when things are coming, and whatever it is, and you're fine. And it's just a complete playing the magic now. Like the work's been done playing the magic. And that's
Even through the notes.
I guess what all my new stuff, all my new writing is a lot about this just complete alignment with it.
Mhm.
It's got everything has got such a new flavor to it, and experience. It's old things that you do 1,000 times start to feel a little bit different because you can see them in a new light, and it's really what it is, shining a new light on everything. Um,
Yay.
but yeah, it was a really beautiful watching of how this kind of work can really um, heal a lot of things and allow you to move through things and put a new perspective and light on things that you don't necessarily get otherwise. I don't know. I mean, there's plenty of different avenues, but it is a really beautiful way of doing it, and that's really what my book's about.
Mm. And would you say that you expected to finish a poetry book, move houses, change occupations of job, um, and
Babe,
experience
I didn't even think I had a poetry book walking
real
into
life?
this. I was just writing. I
Like,
was just writing.
yeah. So when you
And
started,
then when we were down there, I kept getting gifts. Like I kept getting books as gifts for months. I was every time I go down there, here's a grimoire, here's a book, here's a fucking fairy book. And I'd be like, thanks for the books, I guess. I don't really know what all these books are. Like I'm sure they've just got like knowledge in them that I'm gaining from taking them. Little did I know, it was literally like notes of like, here's here's a part of your book. Here's a part of your book. It's coming to the end. Here's the next part. Here's the next part. Oh, you're good. You're good. It's there. You've got your book. And it's like it was very, very special because beforehand it wasn't ever going to be a book. I wasn't writing a book. I was just writing for the sake of writing, and then it all made sense.
mm, so beautiful. So when
Yeah,
you,
I didn't expect to move house. I didn't expect to change jobs. I didn't expect any of it. But when you're going through it, sorry, I just remembered the rest of it,
so
your
cute.
question. But you go like it's like you said, it's the aligning with your authentic self, and things just drop away. It's like what isn't aligned there. You're moving up your vibrational frequency so quickly, so vastly. It's like you're leap jumping away from the world that you used to live in, and so much of the world you live in is attached to the person you are, and of course, as that starts to dramatically change, everything else starts to drop away. And I was working a really devo corporate job, and I went, well, sorry, not me. Like, let me go. Let me go. Let me go. I'm good. Let me go. Let me go. Good luck. And I left. I walked out, and I was like, I'm done. Have fun, have a good time. And I had no idea what I was going to do next. But 3 weeks, I just had this. It was not even faith. It's just this knowing that it's the right thing's coming, because you're making the right. Your spirit's aligned with what you're bringing, and then you're making the decisions to bring that into your life, and you know it's there. So of course it's coming, and then it comes. And now I'm working, helping people with disabilities around Australia seek the kind of support they can they can get through a few different avenues to help them make their lives a little bit easier, a little bit better. And I work with people like that to do a lot of that work for them to get it to them a lot easier.
Mhm.
So much more abundant, both spiritually, financially as well, which is really lovely.
Yeah, and
Really,
emotion.
really lovely. And emotionally. Yeah, absolutely.
Working with spirit. That little gap there, you said, like you doing the steps, doing the things. We were just recapping over the book before we got on this call. And we noticed that beforehand, there was this funny little blurb notes that said Sam fell asleep, but got the money tree, and then got these gifts. Do do do. And it was just this little tiny little, not much. And then we noticed that when we flipped the next time we met, Sam got a new job, ecstatic. and it was just, and at that time, like Sam was talking about the feeling, the sensation of just the faith. And,
Mm,
and so we were unpacking how that's actually a sense of magnetism, which is in the dream alignment codes. And so when you magnetize the best goals for you to you, there's this sense of tension that you can feel as they're coming, and you can feel it in your energetic field. And then when magnetically it has arrived, it gives this sense of faith, because then you're just waiting for the actual physical thing to get here, but you can energetically feel that it's arrived.
yeah,
And Sam was waiting for the job, quit the corporate, and everybody's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" But was
yeah.
experiencing exactly this sensation of that it's right here. So actually, I don't have to panic, and I don't know what
There
it
was
is
no panic.
already. So like it's good, and
It's
then
good. It was there.
skin, you looked so different, going like, and then yeah, it was literally everything had shifted around you to also then match
Yeah,
this frequency of
yeah, literally. Down to even the physical experience, like the physical body. I feel a lot shinier than I did before.
so
Well, less weighed down, bogged down. It's like,
so
yeah,
so when you were like, things coming up, I'm gonna jump into that. What was your hope, your thoughts? What did you think you were gonna get from this? What were you like, oh, that's a good idea because
if I'm being honest, I really didn't know. Like, I'm gonna be very, very honest. I had no idea. I was thinking about this like 2 months ago. I was like, hey, did I decide to do this? I think it really came boiled down to we've done work in the past, and I know what you're capable of. And I knew for some reason or not, you were in my life to bring a lot of this stuff back up for me. And you have, like, that's just the reality of it. Like, a lot of my way of going about things has shifted since living with you, because I changed my way of, I guess, thinking about things, and putting a lot more focus on what I actually want to put attention to. And when this came up, it just felt right. It really was just a sense of, I have to do this. I don't know what it is, and it doesn't matter whether it's something I need or not. I just need to do it because I need to stay in touch with this aspect of myself. Um, and that's why I did it. I was like, this is an aspect of self that deserves space, deserves time, it deserves attention, it deserves work. I don't necessarily know what work or space or time or any of that, but that's why I was like, this is what's arrived. This is what's at the doorstep right now, and there's no reason to say no. And
cute.
that's what it was for me. Yeah.
And then what would you say are your like highlight takeaways from this experience being in this group that started off as a huge amount of people and then it got
Girl,
five?
girl, what isn't? Like, what aspect of it isn't? Like, um, down, it's great. Like, it's beautiful to have such to give yourself a dedicated time, like,
All right, well just let's see. So Sam and I lived together for 1 year and a half in Australia while I was traveling about. So that's our little, just in case you didn't catch that at the beginning, that's our again, things
I
rock.
am so sorry. I don't know what happened. I think I got another call, and then my phone fully had a little moment connection. But it's all good now. Where was I? Yes, what I've loved about the experience, the whole journey. Of course, every aspect of it really has a beautiful element to it that I'm grateful for. But I think the major ones, I mean, at first it was just like the first couple of months as you're coming to get to know everyone, and it's still a relatively new experience. It's what I was really enjoying from it was just it just felt like as like a very creative person, I really enjoy visualizing things. So getting to have that constant experience of like, oh, I'm leaping around in my spirit world right now and I'm getting to see all of it. I felt like a kid in a candy shop. I'm like, there is so much in here to like run around and explore. And that's very much what I was doing in those first few journeys. There was quite a lot of times where I'd run off from the train of what we were meant to be doing, and I would end up somewhere completely on the other side of the spirit world and be like, I'll come back in like 5 minutes. I'll be back in a second. I'm jumped up in the sky right now. Okay, I'm just talking to this, like all these people. Okay, I'm riding a dragon, Naomi. I'm riding a dragon. You gotta wait. I'm riding a dragon right now. Like, please chill out. I'm frolicking through the Fey fields. Like, I'm talking to the Fey royalty right now, babe. I can't come back. I'm not there yet. Wait a second.
So good. So I loved hearing your visions when you get back. So then you were saying we needed to go over there, but then I was like, oh, and I was
Oh, wait a second. There's so much else.
I'll
Anyway,
be back in 5 to do all of those things in lightning speed because these guys
I
made me.
promise I will do it. I will do it. But look at this.
But these guys look really cute and they're doing something and they got a party and
Yeah, it was a party. At one point, my tree had become this giant piece of coral, and it was all underwater, and there was all these mermaids, and I just went for a little massive, like, my hibernation migration swim with all these mermaids, and I was like, wait, I'm not meant to be right here right now. Bye, guys. I got distracted. Oh, yeah. It was so much fun.
I'll come back to see what you guys
I'll
want to
come back. I got distracted eating grapes in the vineyard at one point. I had all these vineyards and I was like eating the grapes. And I was like, wait, I don't think Naomi told me to eat grapes. So that's what was really, I really enjoyed the first, like, as the whole way through, really. I've never stopped enjoying that. But that's been a great part of the experience, being able to um attune dive into a world really where it's yourself fantasized almost like in a like fantastical little magical realm of all these beings and places and experiences, and it's all tied to you and your spirit self and what you need to see and what you need to hear and what you need to be given and what you need to do, and having that personal connection to it really just is an incredibly rewarding and beautiful and cherished experience. And then everyone's going through that, really, aren't they? Like everyone's in some way, shape, or form is going on these journeys and experiencing pretty much not maybe not seeing it the way you see it, but definitely experiencing it the way you're experiencing it in some capacity. And you're coming back to each other and going, well, because of that journey, I had banana Jesus show up in my life this week, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, I ate bananas this morning," and you're like, "Well, look at that, look at that, look at that! You all ate bananas, and I met banana Jesus. So you see me, I see you. Like, like,
yeah, everybody that morning was like, I ate a banana. I ate bananas. Like, I don't normally eat bananas, but I went and I particularly bought bananas and had one this morning. And then, yeah,
yeah,
Banana Jesus is who I met. Look at this Banana Jesus art. And yeah, so many funny. That was such a bizarre collective come through because we had like the deeper ones, like, ooh, everybody's digging into their father wound. Oh, okay,
yeah,
parallel, and then they're like, oh, other different kind of family wounding, ancestral wounding kind of stuff. And then the one day,
Hmm.
bananas, banana
Bananas.
Jesus, whoa.
Banana cheeses.
It's like, and everybody's spirit guides are like, yeah, let's
Yeah,
get
that is
banana
it. That's
Jesus.
what we're doing this week.
Yeah, this is great. Like, yeah. And oh yeah, it's
It's
so
just,
special watching,
and
yeah,
it all just feels right.
mm-hmm.
It just all feels right. Like no matter whether it's the really deep stuff and bringing up that or the lighter stuff, it's just incredible to watch how it all kind of makes sense for the timing of it. And you all on some level are kind of processing the almost the exact same kind of stuff, whether it's in a different kind of font to the next person, but that becomes very clear. I think that came clear for me probably around like third month, third, fourth month. I was sitting there going, okay, we're all on the same level now. Like I think it probably takes a second to get there, but eventually you're all kind of moving at the same speed. And people sometimes have dropped off. They weren't with it; they left as as it is. But then eventually you're left with who we were left with, and it felt like we were all on the exact same level
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
whole way through. You're all kind of coming to the same epiphanies at the exact same time and having the same kind of emotional responses to it in a way. Like we were kind of pretty much most of us were down in the ditch when we were all down in the ditch, and when we're happy go lucky, we're happy go lucky and jumping around. Like it kind of was very much like that the whole way through. Obviously, there's the odd occasion where something's much more intensive for someone else, but that's an incredible aspect of it, especially for me. I was loving the fact that I was able to come out of it having more often than not, really intense and challenging things to look at come up, and just kind of being able to breathe and relax it because you're in a space where not only is it safe, but it's collective. And I think that takes it to another level, going from this is just a safe space for everyone to share with each other to, we get it. Like we're there with you. We understand, we're feeling it too. Like, and if not feeling it for yourself, you're feeling it from the other people because it's on some level you're all connected. And that just, it just takes you to a place where it's just, you're moving through things so easily because there's no reason not to. You're in a space where it's just so easy to be held and propelled. And that was beautiful. Like I, that's probably the most part of it that I've talked about the most to people when I tell them what I've been doing. This journey is just this having this sense of community and this whole hive, and it's magical. It's just, the whole experience is magical, but that's just, oh, it's, there's not enough words really because it takes you to, it's like nothing really. I can't think of any other space anywhere where you go from being, it's a safe space amongst people who care for each other to that level of energy connectedness of you're all moving through it at the same time. So it's not even your own feelings, it's everyone's in a sense. That is just incredible. Of course, walking into it, I was like, that's what's going to probably happen. But just you get there and you're like, oh, wow, this is actually something else. This is something else entirely.
Because it's
But
so
yeah,
faceted. It's so many
it's
layers.
so,
Like you're saying, opening one room, then the next, then the next, then you have a large mansion to clean. But all of a sudden, it
yeah,
becomes easy. And next thing it
it's
is
easy.
just this cleaning cycle, this check in with self. And then as the group is with witness and process. So, one thing that I think is really different about anything that I do is that I came from theater of the oppressed facilitation background. And that's where I started facilitating theater of the oppressed. How do we work things out with play, with movement, with conversation, with life coaching, with this facilitation creative workshop design? So lots of play, lots of how do we have these hard conversations while laughing about it. And the process is always said if you can, work with a community for a year, minimum 3 months, but preferably a year. because then you actually have the capacity to establish the safety to get into these spaces, but you also have the trust built that you can help them out. And then with our groups, because it's not we're not working with a marginalized community that's never aware of any of this. It's like not like we're stepping into some of the spaces I was facilitating in the past where it's in crisis people. In our space, we are all adept. We are all masterful in our passions, in ourselves, in our truths. Lots of us have already had multiple modalities. Lots of us are already healers, offering our services, coaches. And so then we have this one grounded level of already we've healed, already our individual skills. And then coming into a container where, in my background and my philosophy, is that we take our time, but we also play, we laugh, and then how do we dip into these difficult conversations to root out what is actually being said in these gestures, in the banana Jesus, um, which is one of my favorite things. And then it's just, yeah, it's so beautiful when the group finds its rhythm, because not everybody's ready for this hefty of a transformation. This is the reason why Kundalini yoga and Tantric yoga wasn't taught to just anybody, because you activate the Kundalini and your life breaks around you, because what does not serve you is going to be shed from you. And it's quite an intense, and if you can handle it and juggle the 80 balls and, and then get it down to so that the 80 become 10 and then they become 2, and then you get into this groove and you're like, all right, I got this. And you can just begin to move with the momentum of what it means to have these guides, these muses, this orchestra of
Yeah.
assistance that literally you can say like beep, 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 and then know that it'll just, okay, there it is. I feel the guidance. I know where I need to go now. I can trust me to take me there because I've established this connection
Yeah.
to my team. And it's,
Yeah.
yeah. And one of my favorite things is just how different everybody's experience. Same realm, same guides, sees the same general guide, image, outline, um, but totally different gifts, different when it's a personal guide at the tree. Some people have angels, some people have animals, some people have little balls of energy, like, and it's just so beautiful to see how individual our supernaturals, our support, and the way that our intrinsic skills are that we didn't even realize we picked up reading all those books as a kid. And then next thing you
Yeah.
know, it's like, yeah, that thing I read. Oh, that's how that works. Oh, whoa. Oh, interesting. And it brings a experiential physicality to a lot of things that we read in books. And it's like, oh, I did that. Yeah. But to actually journey, then read the book. It's like experience first, then we'll talk about it. And
We'll
I
talk
just
about
love
it.
that approach to it. And this is why this is my favorite thing to do with people, my favorite initiation.
Yeah.
And
Well, it
myself,
allows you to have like a personal experience with it before it comes a communal one. I think if you're starting with like a book first, or the everyone's idea of what they've had first, then it kind of can get in your way of perceiving it. But how we're doing it, it's just like completely your perception of it, your experience with it, and then we can come and review everyone else's and everything that's been written about it.
mhm. Yeah, it's so very special. And so during the process, you started to notice that because we were all magical practitioners, exceptional this and that's with our different energetic allies and things like that. And you started a film about the journey through the tree and made little characters that are loosely perhaps sculpted after the people in the hive. You want to tell us a little bit?
Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's probably more like it was something I'd started like a long time ago. I started writing this film probably mid last year, and well, like conceptualizing it, coming up with what I wanted it to be, how I wanted it to feel. And a lot of it, I'd written a huge, I've like rewritten the script like multiple times from scratch, because every time I'd come to it, I'd be like, hey, this isn't it yet. We're getting there, but this isn't it. Start again. And as we started to do a lot of these journeys, and I was going into these places and rolling through the underworld in particular, it kind of, look, I don't know whether it was just that's how it is down there, or that's just how. what my brain decided to choose, but it was so aesthetically similar to how I was perceiving the world that I'd written into this film already.
Mm.
It's called, I'm tentatively calling it folklore. Um, but as I was moving through it, I was, the realms that is, I was like, okay, there's definitely, this is definitely a huge aspect of why it's looking like this for me. So I can kind of transfer a lot of the imagery and the emotional and the the practices that we're doing into aspects of what is happening throughout the film. So I don't necessarily think it's completely about the tree, but it is definitely a lot of like what happened has happened in there, what we do as a group. I mean, I've got a little coven in the film itself. That's a huge aspect of the storyline, and that definitely will show up in there a lot. Like, and just our practices in general, and what we're doing, and how the world building is built around their journeys of A to B. A lot of it will definitely show up in what we've done. Like, it's kind of not like I'm writing these spiritual practitioners. I'm like, well, what spiritual practices do I know? What can I write to? Literally, like easily. So that's very special to me, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how it all ties together, because they are kind of loosely based off the figures in our group, in a sense, and in sense of maybe personality and their practice and what they're doing, and it's very special because I mean, with it's such a beautiful, close little group of us. So I was like, well, how am I not going to put that in there? Like, how am I not like? It just makes sense. Like, it makes sense.
It's right
It
there.
makes
Look,
sense.
it's there,
It
and
makes
then
sense. I've got like these three main characters, and one of them is competing, working against a lot of their shadow stuff. One of them is working through a lot of their like limiting beliefs, and one of them is they get separated when they end up in this like Fey world, and one of them is this girl. She gets swooped up in the coven, and she is going to go through this like journey of just pretty much expanding what she's capable of through the practices that they gift and they share in the community that's built in that, and that's of course pretty much going to mirror what's happening here. Like, I don't know how it wouldn't.
Well, I
But
love that though, that like that it started, it was like a premonition, like sharing with you that you know this world. And it was like, oh, it's something over here. That it was like, hold on, I just have to go over here for a minute. And then it was like, ah, yes, there it is. That's right.
yeah, there
That's what
it
it's all
is.
about. There we go. Because yeah, the
There we go.
ancestors whisper and they try and get our attention, and they try and figure out. And lots of us don't listen. But that's the beautiful thing, where in your response, why did you join? Because, like,
It felt right.
yeah,
I
it
knew I
is.
had to do it. I didn't know why. I just knew I had to.
And so many
And here we
people
are.
cannot allow themselves to do something without the why. And I think that's the gold, is that if
Yeah.
you take any magic away from what we've heard here today with Sam, that is the nugget of wisdom right there.
Yeah.
Do it because it feels right, even if you cannot validate the why.
That's so crazy names, because I thought that was something I was taking away from the journey as it's kind of completed itself, the Sienna Day process of, because so much in the last few months is just, I don't know why, it just feels right. I just know it's right. I just know it's going to work. So I'm just letting it happen. I'm letting it work itself out. And here I am thinking, oh, this is something that's come out of the journey. Babe, you walked into it like that. And now it's just expanding and making it everything, the connectiveness. But yeah, that's it, the trust, hey.
Mhm. Well, and just getting so in tune with yourself,
Yeah.
centered in yourself, so that you can feel yourself, and getting those blockages, those things out of the way that fire, and then go and then we don't even think about, like, why are we exiting the situation, and then we start going into analyzing, and well, we must be, but we remove those triggers, we get lots of those thorns out of the way, and then we can clearly hear ourselves, but also
Mm.
clearly feel. And if we don't practice, like, does this feel right? Does this not feel right? And once we get better at feeling,
Yeah.
then we can start to just also relax the monkey mind that says the masculine, that says, I want to know the why before I do
Yeah.
the do, and go into that feminine of, it feels right. It feels good. Just trust me.
Let's
Like,
trust that.
yeah.
That's it. Like
Just,
a lot of that is exactly it. When you're feeling it's right,
you are a good
I
healer.
think that's
You good things, and good things will come to you, honey.
period.
Helped that little old lady with her receipt the other day. Well, just the little things, right? Like the
Yeah.
acts. I go by the acts of kindness. Like,
Mm,
even if someone, like, if they're like, oh well, they're fine, doesn't mean I can't check. Doesn't mean I can't offer
yeah.
help. Doesn't mean I, can't just open the door.
Yeah,
And I think
exactly right.
moments of acting in kindness where we can, I think it amounts to a lot.
I
And then
agree.
just really helps bring in this, like, I'm loved, I'm deserving, I do the right thing, I can trust me. I'm like, and I'm just like, yeah. And then it just becomes this, like, I don't exactly know what's going on right now, but how am I feeling?
That's
Oh, I'm
okay.
kind of hungry, so let's go do that,
That's
and
great.
then as
That
soon as
is literally exactly it. I think even
the meal
like
comes,
what the month before we finished up, I was like, it's like this baseline of serendipity, like this baseline of like happiness and just never ending good vibe. Like that's pretty much like what kind of comes out of it in a sense, like because you're reaching that point of when yourself where you're capable of doing that for the world around you, for yourself, for everyone. It's just that's just where you're at, and
yeah,
that's where it gets you.
and you just know it's gonna get better, and
Yeah,
you can't even imagine how good it's gonna be. So just keep
but you know
ordering
it's gonna be.
all the things that you want or better, and let's just see. And it's been proven it can be better than you even imagine. And it's just like, okay,
Yeah,
so
it
let's,
can.
yeah. And it's
I
just,
think a huge part of it, like it's in through my journey, is in particular was just coming to a point where it was like it's okay to start letting go of the stuff that you like and knowing that there's better that's coming. It's okay to let go of what's already good because the great's on the way, and
mhm,
just having the faith that is just the allowing everything that is like meant to come to you and that is good that should just come to you and not letting anything kind of get in the way of that. Even if it's well, everything's really great right now. I don't know if I want to let that go. Girl, let it go. It's okay. It's fine.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
and that's
trust.
also been really special.
So beautiful, Sam. So, in conclusion, is there anything that you'd like to share? Any projects you've got coming up, or just anything you'd like to say?
Well, I've kind of gone over the projects that
Mhm.
I've been doing, that I'm working on, that are finishing up. I
Yes, if
haven't.
anybody wants to help Sam with publishing a poetry book,
Yes,
if you'd
yeah.
like a copy of Sam's poetry book, you can look for Sam, and we'll put Sam's name in the comments.
Hmm.
So you can find Sam for copies of Sam's poetry book when it's ready.
Hmm.
If you have any film or feature film, indie production, or anything like that going on in the
Yep.
East Coast between Sunny Coast and Gold Coast, Brisbane area,
Yep.
Sam is there and available for any of those
If you're
things.
needing any help on making anything come to life, any
Yeah.
productions you want to work on, any of that kind of thing, any of those requests, you can find me at Sam Walcroft at on Instagram, but it's got two M's.
Perfect. There we are. And yeah, and then if you just want to, Sam is currently single, into
Oh,
Butch. So, if you're watching, you're spiritual, you're cute, you're good, you better be kind. Sam also is available. Brisbane area,
well,
Australia.
that's it. That's the tea.
So thank you so much,
Get in
Sam.
touch, babe.
Yeah, yeah, I'll leave
Or
it
add
with
my number into the comments. Like, oh,
yeah. Not a healer yet, but so what can we promote though? Like, what do we need? What do we dream alignment here? Like, oh yeah, we can't forget that part. Um, But yeah, so congratulations, Sam, one of our beautiful first initiates coming through Yonah Colibri as a white chord Priestexx of Dream Waters Mystery School. And it's been so beautiful walking, living with you, playing, expanding, laughing. And then it was exceptional to continue while I was traveling back to find my new roots and to have your
Yeah.
face and your energy and your love and your warmth. It just brought such a beautiful cohesion, how much you care about the people that you join around, even if it is an online portal, and how much connection can even be still through these online.
Yeah, absolutely. I
So,
know, I just constantly feel like I'm like right there with you all. At first I was like, I'm not gonna be that connected to these people. No, I love you all. Absolutely. It's so special. It's so nice. And thank you so much for holding this space names and creating this like hive for us, taking us on this journey. It's been seriously incredible. Every second of it. It's just next level. It's like oh like there's nothing. I don't know if there's any other greater gift that I could have been given in this part of my life. It's it's always going to be so special to me. And it really does feel like a very much before and after kind of situation where I've walked into this. I'm not in a really, not necessarily in a terrible place, but I'm walking out of it with the tools and the power of just being able to create everything that I need and I want. And that's fully aligned, fully there, right? It's happening.
beautiful. And so motivate. Well, thank you all
No
for
matter me.
in. And like we said, we've got Sam Warcroft on Instagram if you've got any inquiries about film or other things that we mentioned. And
Yeah.
so Brisbane, Australia for Sam. And then, yeah, if you're curious about Dream Waters Wellness, the next cycle of Journey of the Bard, Inner Alchemy Process, you can just reach out to me and comment, like, subscribe, all that jazz. I'm still not very good at this YouTube and all the spiel stuff, but we'll get there one day. But thank you, Sam, for being here. Lots of love, whoever made it through to the end. And keep posted for other